everybody. Nice to see everybody. I'm very excited to have a guest with me today, Andy Gelder. Welcome, Andy. Lovely to see you here.
It's great to be here. How did this happen?
I don't know. I just messaged you and said, do you want to come on a thing and talk to me? And you were like, yeah, all right. And here we are.
I'm in the middle of a cup of tea. Is that okay? Can I finish this while we chat? Is that rude?
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Not at all. You go for it. Just making me jealous because I wish I had a cup of tea too. So you've been having before we talk about business and stuff, we will talk about business, but obviously you're a hugely successful Amazon seller, been doing it for a few years. So tell us a little bit about how you started and what made you start your Amazon business and a little bit of background like that.
How long have you got? So I had, if I wind the clock back, I graduated from Manchester in '85 with a media degree, right? And I went to work in radio. And I was writing adverts in Cardiff, and then I went to go onto the radio. And I ended my career in Bedfordshire for a great radio station. I was doing the breakfast show, and I was doing that for 10 years. And I knew that it had a shelf life. Firstly, I didn't want to keep getting up at 4 a.m, even though it was, the pinnacle of everything. So my wife and I started getting into property, and we built a property portfolio. And then with the sort of financial upset in '07, we were looking for other ideas. And I discovered a training course in Amazon FBA, which we went on to in the UK, and went from there. So in the summer of 2015, I launched pet supplements in the States, and ran that for 3 years and got that settled. That still exists. And then in 2018, I was doing some coaching and training, and I was talking to a very motivated, inspirational young lady called Eloise, and she was telling me about arbitrage. And I looked at that and I thought, well, that's interesting. So I ventured into arbitrage in 2018, and so arbitrage takes up a big part of my business. I've got sourcing VA in the Philippines, and I've got a admin VA, so they look after a big chunk of that for me. And I've got a couple of prep centers in the UK. And then in November, I decided to launch another private label brand, this time in the UK, generic brand selling stuff. So I'm working on that at the moment. And then last month, March, I published a book. So, so there we go.
You've been busy, a real entrepreneur, doing all sorts of things, fingers in lots of pies.
Mostly e-commerce focused, yeah. I mean, we still got the properties, and that's great. That's bread and butter. And the Amazon e-commerce is certainly, is growing, and it's exciting, definitely, yeah.
Okay, well, let's chat about the private label stuff in a little while. Let's start on your OA stuff. So when you first started like arbitrage and doing OA, how much did you start with in terms of your budget? Did you start with a big budget? Did you start with a little budget?
I wish I could remember. It wasn't a lot. It was about $1,000, I think, something like that, which was not enough. It was something in that region. And now, obviously it's grown. And I took advantage of bounce back loans. So I took a bounce back loan last year and invested that, which, that's worked well. So I've got a lot of money in stock.
Wow, fantastic. Smashing it, doing really, really well. In only 3 years as well. So you've taken it from £1,000 to whatever in 3 years. 6 figures, would that be fair to say?
6 figures in terms of what? Turnover? Investing money in it?
In terms of your sales?
Yeah, I mean, I've held back off VAT registration, so we managed to control that just because I wasn't quite ready for it. So we exceeded that Q4 last year, but the accountant said it was fine. So we're just literally hovering right on the cusp of that. With the usual margins and the no matter what people say, they always seem to come out about the same, doesn't it? I'm sure you know that. So I would expect at some point later this year, the plan is we'll push it as we're preparing for Q4. We'll push into VAT registration, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me what you love most about arbitrage.
the sales. It's really funny, actually. Out of a complete coincidence, I reconnected with an old a radio friend of mine, my old co-host, and she lives up in the northwest. And she messaged me and she said, "Help, help!" She's has military connections now, and her boss has written a book about leadership. And the Amazon account that she was selling it through, a big account, huge account, was taken down by Amazon, and they needed to get the book fulfilled. So I helped her with that. And in doing so, I gave her access to my Sales Central account. And she said to me, she said, "Gelder, what are all these sales? What's going on? You know, all this stuff going on." She said, you've got shampoo and you've got, all these things going on. And she said, "It looks fantastic." So that's the exciting bit. I love getting a deal. I love the deals. And I, just growing the business is exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know something funny about shampoo? I got my Amazon account ungated in about 2016, 2017. And I've still got shampoo in my garage I'm using up. I've not bought any shampoo since. I'm still using it in 2017.
That wasn't a good example, but it was just one that popped in my head. But, whatever it was, spice mixes or, all sorts of stuff that we sell, really, and she was just her eyes were completely open to all the stuff flowing through the account,
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think is like the biggest benefit of selling on Amazon? What do you think the biggest benefit for sellers is?
Well, it's Amazon's a what's the word I want? What's the word I want, Karen? It's a two-headed beast. No, it sort of gives the one and takes the other, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a challenge sometimes. It's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge. Just the way it's so easy to. I've got a new VA and around the other side of the world, and I make her a Loom video about an instruction for a new new task, and she just plugs into the account and gets on with it. All of that sort of stuff is just wonderful. The fact that we can do that. So that's more digital entrepreneurialism. But the fact that Amazon is built to allow the access, the fact that we can send stock in, FBA, all of that sort of stuff is great. I think that's really, really good. And the fact that they have got all of the Amazon customers floating around, looking for looking for things to buy. We don't have to drive traffic to our listings mostly.
No, it's a great business model. It's a great beginner business model for someone getting into like marketing and starting their own business. It's a brilliant first business model, isn't it? It's really, really good.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Someone with obviously a thriving business that's been doing it years. What would you say your top 3 tips are for new sellers?
Patience.
Yep.
Probably would take, in some cases, it takes longer than you think. So I definitely think patience. Crikey, that's a good question. Top 3 tips.
I've got one. I can add one. Get by.
Yeah, go on, you tell me because I can't think of 3.
Get by Pro straight away. That's a good tip.
Okay. Things to use. Okay. Well, in that case, yes, excellent software, and obviously that I use your software and absolutely love it. So yeah, it's okay. So a tip would be outsource as soon as you can, whether that's outsource, the software side of things, or outsource other bits and pieces, whatever it may be. I'm no good at creating images, and I've been doing that for my bundles recently. But I've got a guy in India who's been doing work for me for years. He charges about 7, 8, 9, 10 quid. It comes back within less than 24 hours, exactly what I need. I don't have to worry about it. So that's a great example of outsourcing. I've got financial software, so Sumfully, is outsourcing, because I don't want to be running P&L. I need to know the numbers, but I don't want to be sitting here with a spreadsheet. So yeah, definitely start getting rid of those tasks when you can. The caveat being, of course, you've got to be able to afford them. The business needs to be able to afford them. So don't come and shout at me when, if you take everything on and outsource everything and you run out of money. You've got to do it in stages. So outsourcing would be another tip. And yeah, plug into those great software tools that, BuyBot Pro, Profit Protector Pro. They're absolutely essential. Really good tools, definitely.
Yeah. What's your favourite strategy on Profit Protector Pro?
Well, in the current quarter, I got a lot of mine on, well, probably 50-50 balanced and super aggressive actually at the moment, I think. Yeah. What's yours?
I balanced would probably be my favourite. Lots of people loving super aggressive at the moment. When you're using super aggressive, it's great. You just need to make sure your minimum has a good profit built into it already, because Profit Protector Pro will be trying to get you the buy box, and of course always it's trying to up your profits and boost your profits. That's just what Profit Protector Pro does. But yeah, that's a good one. People are getting great results with that strategy at the moment. That's a popular one.
Yeah, I've got that set as my default. And my VA does everything. So when we add new arbitrage products, one of her tasks is I've given her a calendar, a Google Sheets calendar, a weekly diary, and but she also knows that if she adds a new product to my inventory, as a default, I run. Here's another top tip then, and it's thanks to Natalie. Natalie Cromie is penny pay per click on arbitrage. I've been running it for 12 months, and I know these numbers because I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I've spent £730, and it's generated me £25,000 worth of sales.
Wow.
The ACOS is not 3%, it's 2 point something, with a cost per click of pennies. Now, in America on my pets, right? Do you want to have a guess at ACOS? Do you want to have a guess at cost per click? Do you want to have a guess at, it's eye-watering, Karen, clicks of $5, $7, $8, $9, $10 easily. And that's your profit margin, right? On a pet supplement. But, thanks to Natalie, I was quite reluctant to think, why am I going to be spending money on arbitrage? And, she talked me through it because I did some coaching with her last summer or the summer before. And she said, no, look, this is how it works. And I went, right, okay. Now I tell everybody about it. So there's another tip.
Yeah.
Penny pay per click on arbitrage.
Yeah, brilliant. Because Natalie runs a ESA, so there's lots of tips in there as well, isn't there? Lots of good stuff in there. Okay, brilliant. Absolutely. Great tips, I think. So when you're buying arbitrage products, what's the most in terms of the quantity that you'll buy? So will you buy only like 5 of something, or you sort of guy that buys like 500 or something if you can get it?
No, I go deep and shallow. No, I go
wide and
what? I don't even know what strategy I'm doing. I go small numbers. But I will buy regularly. So if I can see something's got traction, and this works really well. So for example, I've got a few products from Argos which are still working well, and they're just saved on my wish list. And all I do is I just let my admin VA know, and I just say, look, can you go and pick a few things off the wish list, so 3 or 4 of the items, or can you just repeat order number, blah blah blah, spend up to £300 or £400 and whiz that through. So that works really well. And quantities, I mean, if it's something I'm super confident with, I will go to 10s, 11s. Having said that, there are some instances with groceries where, for example, if it's a bundle of 6, and if somebody like Ocado will let us do it, I'll do maybe 36 or multiples of in those instances. But that's unusual.
Okay. So what sort of ROI do you like to achieve? What's your minimum ROI that you'll go for?
Probably 30%. Yeah.
About 30%.
I'll be looking at 30%, or I might flip it around. If in the worst case scenario I make a couple of quid profit at the moment, I'll be happy with that. I mean, some of my stuff is much higher than that, but worst case, if I get a couple of quid and just move on. It's been instances where I've made nothing on stuff, just get rid of it, bad buy. It's got tanked. It's got that particular item got swamped. And I just want to move on, get my money out and move on. Sometimes I hold. I'm a big fan of holding, but sometimes, you just think, right, clear it out and move on,
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So does your VA do like manual sourcing? Does she use the manual sourcing accelerator within BuyBot Pro to do some manual sourcing for you?
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how skilled she is at that, and that's something that we've scheduled to spend some time on. She does do that. She does a lot of storefront reverse stalking, she calls it, which I know they all do. They don't like to talk about it, but they do it. And you know, and obviously stalking the stores as well. The source stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've done your arbitrage bits, and you've kind of like started there and progressed it out, and you've gone to your pay-per-click bits and your bundling, and now you're moving more into private label. So that's exciting as well, doing more private label.
Yeah, really exciting and apprehensive, because I know Matt will often say, private label from China's dead, but there's a caveat. You need to take what they're selling, what's on offer, and do something with it. Can you bundle it? Can you, you can't just take a garlic press or a dumpling maker kit, and you've got to do something with it these days. You've got to offer the customers something more on Amazon, and I believe that's the way Amazon's going. It's a changing platform. I think Amazon's cleaning it up. It used to be the wild, wild west, 2015, 2016, 2017. You could get away with a lot. I think they've tightened up a lot, which is a good thing. I think they want to see more brands selling on there. So, yeah, so for me, I mean, Karen, I saw people, I've seen guys that started trading at the same time as me, UK-based sellers, selling out to Americans last year for eye-watering amounts of money, selling their businesses, and I've looked at the things that I know, when you know their brands, these people, things, I won't go into the detail, but you look at it, you think, how have they just sold that business for 2 million? How have they sold it for 1.5, and okay, it was of the time, but it's a really exciting time, and I believe that's still going to continue. So that's what I decided to do with my new brand, which is ready to go. I've got samples in en route in the Suez. That's what it's moving forward with a view to selling it in 3 years' time. So I've worked the numbers how I want them to look. My goal was to build it up, to sell it for a set amount. I was looking for 1.5 million. The multiple is 3 times your annual profit. So I'm thinking, well, if I get to 500k annual profit in 3 years, I can sell it for 1.5 million.
Yeah.
As it stands at the minute. So that's my plan. That's where I'm working to.
Yeah, so much opportunity on Amazon, isn't there? So much opportunity. So much. You just start at the beginning. Whoever's thinking about it, they should definitely give it a go. They should definitely get stuck in with it. Start at the beginning, just work your way through it. Just build up your inventory, build up your business, and just keep plugging away at it and keep learning those skills, because there's so much to learn, isn't there?
There absolutely is. And I will always say, absolutely know your numbers. So you need, I would think, going back to my first tip, I would think the first thing you need to do is get some software like Sunfully that will do your P&L. So it will do the numbers for you. Because Seller Central, let's face it, doesn't make that side of things easy, does it? The data will be there, but you need a nice graph or a chart you can look at each day. What have I sold? What were Amazon's fees? In a couple of 3 days when they've all settled down? What were Amazon's fees? What was my cost of goods? How much did I make on that? Was it what I expected, more or less? Because I think a lot of people are unaware of those numbers, Karen, and I think it's super important. You need to know those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sunfully is going to be amazing when it comes out, and of course, it's got the backing of UK accountants, so it's you can be sure that all the figures are going to be spot on and perfect, and everything's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, Sunfully is going to be an absolutely fabulous tool, definitely.
Yeah. So for new people starting off, I think it's really important to get a good grip on those numbers, and how, if they're private label, how the advertising costs fitting into that are, because I know people who actually, after advertising, probably aren't making any money. They might have sold 100 or 200 or 300 units or whatever, but after their PPC on Amazon, if they're not careful, that can run away and clean them out. So that's important, is know those numbers. Tip number 3.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Do you find it great how the software all works together? Like BuyBot Pro plugs into Profit Protector Pro. Both
Yeah,
of them are going to plug into Sunfully, and it's all going to be
yeah,
like a system that all talks to
yeah.
each other to make it super easy.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? It really does work well. Max and the mins, the cost of goods. Yeah, I think that just works so well. Really good. Yeah,
How do you decide on when you're doing your strategies within Profit Protector Pro and you've got your minimum and your maximum? Obviously, it's easy to work out your minimum because it's your break even plus whatever profit that you want. But how do you go
yeah,
around working out your maximum, making sure there's a big enough gap between your minimum and maximum? Because if you put a too small a gap, Profit Protector Pro can't do its thing by getting the buy box and driving up the price. It needs a bit of a gap to be able to do that. How do you decide on that maximum?
I don't know, Karen. How would you decide?
Well, I can go on to BuyBot Pro and look at what the highest the product has ever sold for and use that as my maximum. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what.
I think I would do the same. Do you know? I'm not sure of the answer unless I had it in front of me. I'd probably instinctively know. Um, but initially, when the VA now is setting it up, she'll look at the that maximum price, the maximum number, and probably add a couple of pounds on
Yeah,
just when the inventory lands, just in case there's any overlap before PPP kicks in. Now I know now it's really super quick, isn't it? But I just say to her, just add a couple of quid on, just in case there's any problems, in case it hasn't synced up or anything. Then I know I'm covered, and I'm
yeah,
not going to sell it below where I need it to be. But yeah, I think instinctively I would look at that. Look at the highest price it's sold at. I look at the BuyBot Pro 360-day average, and then just make a, a sort of informed
yeah,
decision really on the max.
yeah. If you add your goods via the widget in BuyBot Pro into Profit Protector Pro or the PPP extension, it starts repricing the second it lands in Amazon because it's
Yeah,
looking out for new stuff. So there's not the sometimes with some reprices you get a wait, don't you, while it syncs with Amazon. But if you add it
yeah.
through the extension, that the extension is looking out for those things all the time, so it finds in the minute it lands, it knows it's there and starts repricing. So that's
Yeah, yeah. I think this is maybe just a bit of a learnt safety net, maybe from some training a long time ago. It's just
yeah,
one of those things. But yeah, I know it is super quick. And also, what I've noticed is that it's so quick now. If we miss anything for any reason, and it sits in the tab I can't remember which tab it is now. The drop down in stock needs max and min. I think is it that one? Sometimes stock sits there. Once you then update it on the widget or update it, on the app, it's like so quick. It's gone. It's off that, and it's all activated, which does happen to us sometimes. Sometimes they slip through a little bit.
yeah. Are you a mobile guy? Are you looking forward to the Profit Protector Pro app? So won't
I think it will be good, but no, we're all on laptops. Yeah, I mean, I don't do any retail arbitrage, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think any new feature is always good, isn't it? But yeah, we're on the laptops.
yeah. So tell us about your book because that's exciting. You're writing a book as well. You never know where our business is going to lead, do you?
This is really an odd one. So I wrote the Beginner's Guide to Advertising on Amazon, aimed at people like us, people like private labelers, and it's quite technical, because it has to be. So there's lots of screenshots, and it's quite. I don't want to say simplistic, but the idea being that anybody new could buy it off Amazon, and it's paperback. It's also ebook. But the best way to buy it is paperback because people can make notes on it, right? And yes, there's loads of YouTube videos out there. There's tons of it, really, really good stuff from all the names that we know. But I thought, well, I'll put it in a paper format so people can make the notes and they've got it and they can thumb through it and follow it all through.
Yeah.
And it was just over the years of doing it and the years of mentoring. So I do mentor a few sellers, and I just had all that information. I thought, well, let's put it in a book. But actually, there's a bit more to it because the book's an experiment. Because what I realized is that these books don't exist. I kind of assumed that you're going to have shelves and shelves of shelves and boxes of books, but it's all print on demand at Amazon. So I kind of thought, well, that's really interesting. I don't have to go and invest in a print run of 1,000 books. print on demand, you load your manuscript up, and then my job, like private label, is to promote the book. Okay.
Yeah.
So where I'm now going with this, now I've got my head around how all of that works. Yes, it would be great if that book became a bestseller and made me millions, Rodney. But that's not it's not going to happen. But it's there. My next step is now I'm looking at niches in Amazon where I can have books ghostwritten, promote the books as a private label type business. So that's kind of something I'm thinking of. So this book's, it's there, lots and lots of really useful nuggets. We've done a soft launch to a lot of kind of my contacts and friends, just to iron out any bugs, to make sure it's working, to make sure that all the Amazon side of it's working, to spot all my terrible grammatical mistakes. And it's there. So I will now need to take it to a bigger audience, which is a bigger audience in the UK and a bigger audience in the States and globally, really, and push it as far as I can with it.
Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations. It's a great achievement. And, it's amazing. You start selling on Amazon, doing OA, and who knows where you are. You end up writing books and coaching and doing all sorts of things. So that's just fantastic, isn't it? It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
it is amazing how lots of things weave together, and look, here we are. I don't know how, obviously, we're having this chat, and which is really exciting. And you obviously picked up on me, whether because I've been, a client of yours, or whether you've just seen me commenting on stuff in the groups. I don't know. And things lead on, don't they?
Yeah, never know where things are going to lead to. It's super exciting. Business is exciting, isn't it? Business is really exciting. It's there's always something new happening, always something new to learn.
Yeah, I think so. And it's really interesting, actually. My 20-year-old niece was due to go to university last September at Kiel. Really bright girl. She was going to be doing astrophysics, right? and she decided, because of COVID and various other bits and pieces, not to. And at the moment, she's just doing kind of doing some waiting jobs and some office jobs. But I sent her Rich Dad Poor Dad. I sent her just as out the blue. Thought, have a read of this and see. And now she's really motivated because she's saying, well, I can go and create something, create a business, whatever it may be, rather than come out of university in X amount of years' time with 50, 60, 70 grand's worth of debt, and possibly no prospect of a job. And now she's considering this whole entrepreneurial stuff, and I think that's so exciting for her.
Yeah, massively. Massively exciting, and exciting for you as her dad to see her taking that route. That's really exciting as well.
Yeah, yes, she's my niece, and I hope so. If it works, great. My brother will owe me a drink. If it doesn't, he'll probably have a stern word with me. But I'm not pushing her. I'm just saying, look, have you thought?
Yeah.
Because that generation, they're so keyed into the opportunities, the influence of the YouTube, the marketing. It's part of their being, isn't it? And whereas for me, it's a bit more of a struggle at times to do that. But for them, it's second nature. They've grown up with it.
Absolutely. So I've got some random questions for you now.
Oh, no, right, okay.
Just some fun questions now, because we chatted about business, so just some fun questions. So cats or dogs?
How long have we been chatting?
Nearly half an hour.
Right, okay.
Yeah, nearly half an hour. So cats or dogs?
Both. I have 3 cats, and we have Buster the dog, who's mental. He's he fell off a cliff last year and survived, thank goodness. But cats. I was always cats, but we got a dog last year, and he's lovely.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. So if you had a superpower, would you want to be invisible or be able to fly?
Ooh, I would be invisible.
You'd be invisible.
Now you're supposed to say why, aren't you? Now you're supposed to say why.
Okay, why? Yeah.
Because well, that would be great, because you could get through airport security really, really quickly and nobody would know.
Indeed, you could go on lots and lots of holidays, couldn't you? And it would be super easy.
Yes. How your suntan would work if you're invisible, I don't know.
No, definitely not. Okay, so if you could have a drink with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my word, Karen. Oh, that's a curly one. There's loads and loads of people, isn't there? But there's only one person.
Okay, you can have a drink with three. Top three.
Richard Branson, because I would insist that I go to Necker Island to have the drink.
Yeah, very sensible.
Frank Sinatra, because, well, why wouldn't you? I'm sure there's loads more. I mean, there's so many inspirational people. Maybe Ellen MacArthur, because I just admire that girl so much, that woman so much. I love sailing, I love boats. What she did was phenomenal. So there you go. When we finish this, I'm going to ping you because there's going to be loads more that I'm on this. What about you?
Oh, I would
back at you.
I think, yeah, definitely an entrepreneurial person because I love talking about business. Yeah. So maybe I think Peter Jones. Oh, yeah. I'd quite like to have a drink with Peter Jones. That'd be really interesting. I'd love to talk business with Peter Jones. That would definitely be really, really interesting. Somebody that could sing really well would be nice because then they could like sing after dinner. So I don't know, maybe Adele or somebody, or maybe someone like Pavarotti, or maybe we go a bit mad and have something like Pavarotti or something. And then if we are, and then we need somebody with some history, somebody with some real history. Maybe Winston Churchill or someone with lots of history and lots of knowledge like that to talk about. And then I'd include my grandma too.
Right. Okay, great.
Oh, and you know what, Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best with your book and your business going forward. It's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, Karen, you're welcome. Thank you.
Speak to you soon.